on it. That's why it's so critical for us to pass important legislation this year to lower those costs for families.
And joining the conversation all morning long this morning is Michael Lee strategy founder Michael Lee and Fox News contributor Deneen Borelli. Great to see you guys this morning. Thank you so much for being here. Michael, your reaction?
Yeah, he's been an economic disaster, and for him to take some sort of victory lap here, that inflation is only running at 7.7% year over year, like this is just nuts, and it's devoid of reality. Much of the inflation that we've seen is cost push from energy costs that was set into play basically the day he took an office and canceled the Keystone Pipeline, and the only solution for this is moving towards green energy. We have gone from 18% to 19% green energy or renewables over the last decade with a $3.8 trillion investment. So for us to make a dent in the overall energy usage with any sort of green energy as some sort of short-term or near-term solution, again, is devoid from any reality. So I think this is what you can come to expect from this administration is looking outside when it's pouring rain and saying, what a wonderful sunny day we're having.
That's right. Lies, lies, and more lies. You know what? I've got a list here of all of the inflation deals. Twitter hit an all-time high of active users. Mike, this is very concerning that Joe Biden is asking for an investigation of Elon Musk with absolutely nothing to back it up. The White House is refusing to discuss it. Is this once again Joe Biden politicizing and trying to attack his political enemies? What do you think this looks like to you?
Well, look, the Justice Department in this country, behind the scenes, there's always been political investigations. This is nothing new. But this administration is so overt and brazen about prosecuting and destroying their political opponents. I mean, basically, he said 2 days ago, we're going to start, if Trump runs again for president, we're going to throw him in jail. I mean, we under this administration, we have become a banana republic.
I mean, this is absolutely disgusting, Deneen. What do you think? It's just incredible to downplay what's going on in the subways. Michael, we're all living it. What is AOC talking about?
Look, blaming the police for increase in crime in New York City after what they've done to the cops, it's like blaming a bank for being robbed. It's just total insanity. The attack on New York City's finest, it's hard to see from somebody who was here pre 9/11 and now post 9/11 to see what's the way that they've attacked New York City, and knowing how safe of a city it was before Comrade de Blasio took over and just started going after everything and destroying the city from in, and then seeing that New York City actually put Kathy Hochul over the top in this past election on Tuesday. It's really disheartening. Like I love New York City, and to see what's happening it's really just sad.
It's incredible. New York City Mayor Eric Adams, meanwhile, the tent city, the single men living at this complex will be moved to a hotel in Midtown Manhattan. Michael, your reaction?
Look, it's when you live in this lie that, like, oh, these are migrants and they all need a place here, and you don't accept the reality that, look, there's a lot of poor people in America that need these government services, that need our help. Why do we have to start taking care of the poor people of every other country in the world? And it's not that these people should be cast aside. It's just that there should be a priority for citizens and the people that live here.
Go ahead, Denise.
Sure.
Have seen inflation cut into growth, Mike. We've got the jobs report last month with the lowest number of jobs added since December 2020. I know we're still creating jobs, but there are mass layoffs coming. They're hitting companies across various industries. This week, Meta, Citigroup, Barclays, Redfin, all announced layoffs. How do you see jobs and the macro story from your standpoint?
Yeah, not very constructive, Maria. So first, I think there are some issues with the labor market and the way it's being calculated. We have roughly the same number of people working now as we did pre-pandemic. If you have 800,000 to 900,000 people entering the workforce on an annual basis, I don't know how you can get to 3.7% unemployment. Additionally, you start looking at earnings in the fourth quarter. At the end of June, the estimate was for 9.1% growth. The estimates now for the fourth quarter are for a 1% decline. This quarter, without energy, earnings will be down 5.2%. So as these earnings come down, companies across the board are going to look to cut costs. And you're already starting to see that in major institutions. Meta laying off 13% of their workforce. I think you can take what you will from the new name of Facebook and their investment in the metaverse and the fact that they're laying off so many people as to how that investment's worked out for that company. But you're also hearing hiring freezes at a lot of major tech companies, companies that are cash rich and are some of the most profitable companies, in the world that are coming up with hiring freezes. So I think the labor market is set to deteriorate rapidly. And so if you're thinking about inflation coming off, you do need to see unemployment rise. You need to see less people in the workforce, because right now we are in the middle of what's called the wage price spiral. So if you can't find employees, you've got to pay them more. And once you pay them more, you've got to raise prices. And once you raise prices to find new employees, you've got to pay them more. And so it's a bit of a conundrum, this wage price spiral that we're in right now. So these layoffs, while unfortunate for those people having them, does in some way signify that hopefully the end of this inflation is near.
Well, don't forget what Kevin Hassett told us yesterday. Kevin Hassett joined us in our roundtable after the CPI number came out. He said he's expecting every single quarter in 2023 to be negative, And President Biden is vowing to work with Republicans over the next 2 years, but he said only on some issues. Watch.
Look, I also think the American people sent a message that they want us to work together. I've always done that. I know I got criticized for it when I ran. I said I was running for 3 reasons. 1, to restore the soul of America. 2, to build this economy from the middle out and the bottom up. And thirdly, to unite the country, regardless of what the final tally showed.
The president did not mention all those attacks on MAGA Republicans over the last 2 weeks. He then went on to list several issues that he will not budge on. And those issues include prescription drugs, costs, Medicare, and a national abortion ban. Joining the conversation all morning long this morning is Michael Lee and Deneen Borelli. Michael, your reaction.
It's hard to comprehend what he just said. He has easily been the most divisive president in the history of this country. Everything that he's pushed through bipartisan has been an abject disaster. And so it's the Senate Republicans who have gone along with the nonsense infrastructure package. The last couple rounds of COVID funding are putting us in this inflationary situation we are right now. No president has ever crushed the middle class and the lower class of this country quite the way Joe Biden has. Again, it's just really hard to wrap your arms around what he said, because now up is down, left is right, and black is white.
Yeah, I mean, Deneen, are we supposed to call?
Yeah, look, somehow President Trump is being blamed for the failures of Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy. To me, it's total and complete insanity. This should have been a massive victory for the Republicans, and somehow President Trump went from being the one, from being president to now running every single congressional campaign, and it was his distraction. Mitch McConnell spent more money on Lisa Murkowski, who's not even officially a Republican and censured by the Alaska Republican Party against the Republican nominee, than he did on Blake Masters and Don Bolduc combined. So the GOP establishment plays favorites, and Kevin McCarthy was always running this race to be speaker, and that has now blown up in his face. I think he'll end up likely being the speaker, but it's just been disgusting to see all these people try to push blame on the only person that's been able to deliver massive down ballot victories for the Republican Party in the last several election cycles, and that's President Donald Trump.
Yeah. Well, you make a really good point about Mitch McConnell. We should point out that Kelly Chewbacca won in Alaska.